So the moment of truth is here. The moment you've all been waiting for. I have led this on for a while now, and I'll get into why. What we are swinging is the 2021 Monsta Bombardier, is how I'm told to say this. Big thanks goes out to the support from you guys on the channel over the years for supporting us in ways of buying hats and shirts and watching videos and everything. It has made it possible for us to buy some bats to review this year, and this was one of them. The field we're hitting on here to start is the usual field you're used to seeing. It's pretty much 290 all the way around. It's about a 65-degree day, and as you can see, it is drizzling just a little bit. And we're hitting our normal mix of ASA balls for the ASA bats, just 52 300 game balls and some Evil BP 52 pluses. This bat is approved for ASA only, and it was brand new to get this day started. This bat is a 27 ounce with an inload, and I personally like a lot of inload, and it has a good amount to it. I do believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that this is advertised as having a full ounce of inload, and it's pretty sludgy. Like, there's a lot of weight in the end of this bat, which would be fine for me, but if you're not used to a lot of inload or something that's running a little bit heavy, you might consider going down an ounce, but I didn't mind the weighting that much at all. So I do believe this is booked somewhere around having a 12.5 inch barrel. I've read places that it's like 12.6 inches. I don't know what it is with the weird measurements. I've seen a couple of bats like that now from a couple of different manufacturers, but nonetheless, we're just going to call it a 12.5. And here's where this gets interesting a little bit. The sweet spot on this thing was, I mean, pretty good as long as you got it. But it was very, very small and very unforgiving. Like, you would get like 1 out of every 10 swings. It would be something where the ball would just come roaring off of this thing, and then the rest were just kind of like okay performance.
Yeah, I'm finding it.
At least on this first day of BP here, as you're seeing. There's some decent hit balls here, but nothing that just absolutely blew me away. I'll get into that more when I cover the rest of the bat. But that feeling did remain even as the bat broke in. The sweet spot was a little bit small, but there was no doubting when you got it. It is a one-piece bat with, I believe, with their 3500 handle, if I remember correctly. And it was stiff. It felt like a typical one-piece bat. Maybe a little bit of flex if you missed towards the hands or towards the end, but really nothing that stood out to me as like, wow, this thing feels like crap, like some one-piece bats are known for doing. We're going to transition from one field to the next here, and while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and stop off at the labs before we head back to the field. So on a scale, this thing came in at 27.3, and I did screw up on the compression testing. I swore up and down I took a picture of this when it was brand new, and I couldn't find it anywhere. To save my life, I looked through Brian's phone, I looked through somebody else's phone, I looked through my phone, I even looked through my deleted pictures, and I couldn't find it anywhere. But here this bat is after about 300-ish swings on it. Still a pretty good ways to go on the compression tester, and to my understanding, these bats are fairly durable, so there should be no needs for worrying about failing compression anytime soon. And just a quick jump over something that's going to be coming soon, a little bit of a sneak peek here, you might say. We did have the radar out for a little bit of testing with a few different bats, and the numbers I saw here were just about par for the course for what I was looking for out of an ASA bat. Nothing that blew me away, but it wasn't bad either. And then from there, we're transitioning into just a close-up look at this thing. This bat looks great. I've always kind of dug the like old-school military plain look. It looks great from top to bottom. With this lab stuff out of the way, back to the field. So here's where I know I'm probably going to get scrutinized, and is the biggest reason why I haven't posted this video yet. The first day we hit this bat, which in the clips you just saw, I really kind of thought to myself, like, man, this thing isn't like all that great. Like, I've hit ASA bats that are way better than this, but we're going to keep beating on this thing and see what it does, because I wanted to give this thing a fair run, a fair opportunity, and give a good, like, in-depth review on it. And Brian's swing was the last swing that was put on this bat until Dustin put the first one on it in this clip that you're seeing. Literally no swings took place between the last swing that was put on it that you saw and the first swing you're seeing right here. The only difference is the conditions that we're hitting in. The day we hit, it was, as you saw, an overcast day, 65-ish degrees. And the day we're hitting on here in the second part of this video, it's like 88 degrees at 9 in the morning, and humidity was like 6,000%. I mean, I was sweating just standing behind the camera. It was miserable outside. But this bat, just out of nowhere, transformed into a rocket launcher. You could do no wrong with this thing. Still a touch unforgiving, but overall it hit damn near every ball well. It sounded ridiculous. And I left the field that day just completely perplexed, thinking like, all right, so maybe it just hit that next gear. Maybe when we were finishing up, you know, we were tired or whatever else, and we just weren't feeling it, and now it's hit that next gear again. And I am leaving this review maybe a little bit vague, but I've hit this bat 3 or 4 times since this day, and I hit it on another overcast, kind of gloomy day, and it went back to how it was on that overcast and gloomy day. Just kind of underwhelming. It was good sometimes, but not all the time. And you would have that one ball that would just come flying off the barrel of this thing, and then for the most part it was just pretty blah otherwise. And then the next day was conditions close to what you're seeing here, and you could do no wrong again. Just reach out and touch it. I mean, we're hitting on a baseball field, and I had no issue getting out of here with this thing. Dustin can hit with a broomstick, so he clearly had no issue hitting a ball out with this thing. But I was just so perplexed on why it was so good on one day and not so good the next. I started asking around, asking a few questions to a few trusted sources that are pretty familiar with the Monsta stuff, and they even asked further up the chain to someone within Monsta, and kind of the explanation that we got was some of their technology does well in extremely hot weather, and that had to be the case with this thing. It would be just night and day different depending on the conditions, and that's frustrating. I don't want to show up to the ballpark and have to check my phone and see it's 72 degrees, let me get a different bat out, or it's 95, I'm going to put this away and get this bat out. That's just kind of frustrating to me. I'm not taking away from the performance this thing had when it was hot outside. You can clearly see it's hitting the ball well. You'd be kind of silly to say otherwise. But my biggest complaint, and here it comes, I'm not giving this a stamp of approval, and here's why. I need something consistent. Like, I get that most people play softball in the summertime when it's hot. You're playing league, you're playing tournaments, it's hotter than the gates of hell outside, and you're hitting ASA balls that are complete mush sometimes, and that seems to be when this bat thrives the best. Brian bought this from me after this review, and he has been gaming it and hitting the ball very well with it, but every time he has swung it, it's been hot and muggy and steamy outside. As it cools off, I don't know what he'll swing, but I can tell you it won't be this. And after kind of experimenting around, knowing that I felt kind of let down from this bat, so I did some experimenting, swinging a few different Monstas, just to kind of see, like, was it just this bat, or is it just something about this bat that just doesn't fit me? Because I felt very under the gun in terms of, like, if I don't give this bat a good review, then all hell's going to break loose. You know, the militia's going to come raining down on me for saying that I don't like a Monsta. Ooh, big surprise. But I will say that I have found what I do like out of these bats, and there will be a review on that coming soon. And a lot sooner than you've seen the teaser on this to the point that you see this video now. I will say that. So this bat necessarily isn't for me. I hate how temperature dependent it is, and I guess it just varies on the different technologies. I'm not 100% versed on what FIBs or what shells or whatever else they use, but I can tell you that this bat just didn't do it for me. With this other one that we have tried, it was just about the same conditions as it was on the first part of this video that you're seeing minus the rain, and from swing one, it was just a rocket launcher. So at least we know now what might be good and what might be bad. If you like this bat, that's great. Brian bought this bat for me, and he loves it. He's swung a ton of bats. He's kind of a Monsta guy anyway, and he absolutely loves this bat, but I can tell you that I personally would leave this one be. But I said all that to say, stay tuned for the next Monsta review that will be coming. Don't expect a ton of these, but I couldn't post this one and say that I didn't care for this bat, even though it did perform sometimes. I wanted to at least say, hey, this is the one that I do like, just to try and show a little bit of transparency in the fact that there are some good ones and some bad ones, in my opinion. Take it for what you will, but that's my thoughts on this bat. Thanks for stopping in and checking out the video. Be sure and go down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below with anything you got to say. Swing hard in case you hit it. BP Hero, catch you next time.